This is Dr. Marlene Scheipel, and I welcome you to the presentation. Our teleseminar is going to be on the topic of enhancing self-esteem. And self-esteem is a key item as far as our personal awareness is concerned. Self-esteem allows us, first of all, to feel good about ourselves. And feeling good about yourself is important to all different aspects of your life. Feeling good about yourself allows you to value yourself. Feeling good about yourself allows you to care deeply about you. It allows you as well to move forward in positive ways. And those positive ways enhance your entire experience of living and being alive. And I would like you then to take your action guide to page 2. And on page 2, we have the outline for our presentation. First, we're going to talk about self-esteem and what it is. Then we're going to discuss healthy self-esteem, why it's important, where it fits in your life. And then from where we're going to look at some theory. We're going to look at a couple of psychological theorists and their take on esteem in terms of a personality aspect and as far as active in your life. Then we're going to look at Rosenberg's self-esteem scale and see where you stand at present in this whole area of self-esteem. Then our last area is going to be to look at ways to enhance your self-esteem, to build your self-esteem. And we're going to look at many practical ideas for doing this. So that is our outline. And we're going to start with a phrase from Oscar Wilde. And Oscar Wilde said that to love oneself is the beginning of a lifelong romance. In other words, loving yourself puts you in the position to have romance in your life throughout its whole duration. Because the truth is that we have basic human needs. And one of those basic human needs is to be loved. Now, often people think about those basic human needs, especially emotional needs, as coming from someone else. But the truth is, there's a basic amount of our emotional needs that's intended to come from each of us, or toward ourselves. Okay, those basic emotional needs can be for acknowledgement, they can be for recognition, for approval, for regard, for respecting, for esteem, for love. And if we see that a basic amount of those natural emotional needs is intended to come from each of us toward ourselves, then we never have to go without. If we're looking to apply that for ourselves, we're always there with ourselves to make it happen. And the person who especially knows it's when you most need it, that truly is yourself. That person is there with you all the time. So consequently, you have what you need, you have the positive direction to bring that about in your life if you are looking to fulfill those needs yourself. What a lot of times people do is they look to other people to fulfill their basic needs. And the problem with that is that, quite frankly, that other person might not be available. So if you're looking to other people to meet your needs, that can be a problem because the other person might not be attending. They might not notice what you need. They might not know how to provide what you need. And therefore, you stand in a position to go without. If you're meeting your own basic needs yourself, then the person who knows especially what it is that you want and what it is that you need is there, active, able to deal, able to bring about the very things that you want and need, the very emotions, the very satisfaction that's going to fit the best for you. You can apply to yourself. And doing this also requires self-esteem. So we're going to look now at self-esteem. Self-esteem basically is esteeming yourself, valuing yourself, holding yourself in esteem. That includes feeling good about yourself, and it includes loving yourself. So all of those are aspects of self-esteem. For healthy self-esteem, it allows you to assess yourself accurately. You to really notice, realistically, what your strengths are, what your limitations are. Having healthy self-esteem doesn't mean that you always only focus on your strengths. No, you are aware of your limitations as well, and you use all of that information to better your life. Healthy self-esteem also allows you to accept and value yourself unconditionally. So without condition, you're accepting, you're valuing yourself. And that allows you to accept yourself as worthwhile, as worthy, and to do that without reservations, without conditions of any kind. See, the problem with conditions is it sets you into a position of lack of acceptance. Well, I'll accept myself if I do this or when I accomplish that. Those are conditions. So accepting yourself in those ways does not allow you to value yourself unconditionally. Unconditionally means that you accept yourself just as you are right here and now, and that you value the person that you are, just as you are here and now. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't change. If you want to make changes, by all means, having a healthy self-esteem supports you in making changes. But you're not making changes because in some way you're less than or inadequate. You're making changes because you want yourself to be even better. That's where self-esteem comes into the picture, and that is why self-esteem is important. Self-esteem affects major aspects of your life. I've mentioned a few of them here on your slide and in your action guide. There are many, many more, but we're going to focus on the few here that I have enumerated because they're some of the major ones. So it affects major aspects of your life, one of those being communication. How a person communicates. When you feel good about yourself, that comes through what you're saying. It comes through the words that you use. It comes through your nonverbal presentation as well. So that is a background to the actual information that you're communicating. It empowers your communication. It allows it to be even more effective when you're feeling good about yourself. In addition, feeling good about yourself can also determine whether or not you communicate. If you keep something to yourself, kind of timidly holding it inside, or whether you speak up and are assertive in expressing what you want and need. So self-esteem works hand in hand with encouraging you to communicate and to communicate effectively. Self-esteem also affects the major aspects of your life where life choices are concerned. Now, those life choices can be career, professional choices. When you're feeling good about yourself, you're more apt to go for a professional choice that really lets you express the person you are. Not to hold back and say, oh, I really probably couldn't do that anyway, or they wouldn't want me. But to move yourself forward to having what you truly want. Your dream, your heart's desire. Not to hold back from it. To get into play the steps that are needed to bring that into your life and to have that be part of your expression. Other areas of life choices, relationship choices. And relationship choices include friends, who you choose as friends. Are they people that enhance you? Are they people that you feel good being around? Are they people that you feel good about yourself when you're around? And then other relationship choices for your primary other person in your life, your significant other. Choosing someone who really enhances you, who is the kind of person you want to have an ongoing relationship with. Those choices are influenced by your self-esteem, by how you feel about yourself. Self-esteem affects how you approach your life. When you're feeling confident, when you're feeling good about yourself, there can be risks that you're willing to take. Things that move you forward, things that get you ahead in your life that you're not looking to take otherwise. When you're supporting yourself to be the best you that there is, you move yourself into a positive arena that allows you to move forward, to take the risks that propel you into really expressing who you are and what you want your life to be. Secondly, strong, healthy self-esteem affects your willingness to follow through. So you've perhaps chosen a specific direction, well, now following through and making that a success. And thirdly, it affects choosing to meet your own needs, so that in your choices, you're not just looking at what benefits others, but looking as well at what do I need, what do I want, and having those wants and needs fulfilled. And thirdly, it affects your outcomes, the actual life experiences that you bring about. There is an exercise in psychology that has you imagine that you're at the end of your life and to reflect on what you have accomplished at that point. So when you've completed the important work in your life, the important experiences, the important relationships, the important communications in your life, what are you going to want to have accomplished? Well, whatever that is, it's important to start it today. Today is the time for accomplishing those things you're going to want to look back on later in your life and want to have seen a part of your life. So today is the day to get started. We've got, as far as our self-esteem, then feeling good about yourself, valuing yourself, and loving yourself. We're going to look now at a couple of theorists in psychology. The first is Abraham Maslow. Abraham Maslow is an American psychologist, and he looked at needs as a hierarchy. In other words, our needs were built on a level of importance, and that hierarchy worked one aspect of needs, getting it fulfilled, moved us to the next, moved us to the next, moved us to the next. So there were levels in Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And I'm going to move on to the next slide here, or you can move on in your action guide. And this is a simplified version of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We have physiological needs as our first level, and then safety needs, social needs, esteem needs, and then self-actualization. Self-actualization was level 5 for Maslow and the peak of the experience. So second slide here on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, as you see level 1 physiological needs, those are needs for air and water and sleep and food, basic things that are part of survival. And Maslow believed that we needed to focus on those survival needs first before we could go up on any of the other levels. We had to make sure that we had those needs met and solidly to allow us to have the time, the energy, the resources to add to that more advanced needs. And so once we had that level 1 area of needs satisfied, according to Maslow, we moved to safety needs. These are level 2 needs: security, safety. All of this a part of safety needs level 2, stability. So once we've had then physiological needs met, we move to safety needs. Once we get the need for security and stability and safety met, then we moved up, as Maslow enacted it, we moved up to social needs, and that is level 3. Social needs being those needs for connecting with others, belonging, love, acceptance. Once we had connected with others, once we had met that level of needs, we moved to level 4 needs, and those were esteem needs. So the esteem needs are where we are in our today's presentation. And Maslow believed there were 2 forms of esteem needs. There was a need for respect from others and the need for self-respect. So the level 4 actually had 2 different aspects: accomplishment, self-respect, recognition. But the recognition, the accomplishment, the status, the appreciation, need for respect from others, and then the need for self-respect, directing that recognition, that accomplishment, that appreciation toward ourselves, having inner self-esteem. And Maslow believed that that internal focus, that inner self-esteem, that self-respect was even more durable, even stronger and more lasting than esteem from others. And then we reach level 5, and level 5 is self-actualization. This, for Maslow, is the peak experience. He believed that self-actualization is something we continue to work on throughout the whole course of our lives. It's something we don't totally achieve. It's a work in progress. We're always working more. Self-actualization is the need to fulfill oneself, the need to reach one's potential. So this is how Maslow conceived needs and need satisfaction. So we have our 5 steps then in the hierarchy for Maslow. And now we are going to look at Rosenberg. And Morris Rosenberg was also a psychologist, and he also looked at self-esteem. And Rosenberg saw self-esteem as a stable kind of experience in a person's life. It was a stable sense of one's personal worth or their worthiness. So he kind of looked at it as more of a trait experience that had stability over a person's lifetime and how they saw their own worth and worthiness. Now that doesn't mean that Rosenberg thought that we couldn't change that. Now that, quite on the contrary of that. Rather, Rosenberg saw it as something that we worked toward and that we accomplished as a part of our experience and our emotional expression. And before we get to Rosenberg's self-esteem scale, we have a quotation from Wayne Dyer, which is, "You cannot be lonely if you like the person you're alone with." So once again, that focus on ourselves and beginning to meet our needs for acceptance, for accompaniment, for feeling good about us, meeting those needs ourselves. You cannot be lonely if you like the person you're alone with. All right, now I would like you to take on page 5 in your action guide, and we're going to actually do Rosenberg's self-esteem scale. I have a chart for you there of the different items. If you would take each item and just mark in it on the continuum of strongly agree, agree, disagree, or strongly disagree, whichever fits best for you. And I'm going to read through each of the items so that you have them there clearly in case you don't have the action guide printed out, that you can still answer each of these items. So number 1, on the whole, I am satisfied with myself. I'm going to mark that strongly agree, agree, disagree, or strongly disagree, whatever fits best for you. Number 2, at times I think I am no good at all. At times, I think that I am no good at all. Strongly agree, agree, disagree, strongly disagree. I feel that I have a number of good qualities. I feel that I have a number of good qualities. So you're going to mark that one now. Strongly disagree, disagree, agree, strongly agree. Number 4. I am able to do things as well as most other people. I am able to do things as well as most other people. Strongly agree, agree, disagree, strongly disagree. Number 5. I feel I do not have much to be proud of. I feel I do not have much to be proud of. Strongly agree, agree, disagree, strongly disagree. Number 6. I certainly feel useless at times. I certainly feel useless at times. Okay, marking that one for yourself. Number 7. I feel that I am a person of worth, at least the equal of others. I feel that I am a person of worth, at least the equal of others. Marking that on the scale that fits best for you. And number 8. I wish I could have more respect for myself. I wish I could have more respect for myself. Marking that on the continuum that fits best for you. Number 9. All in all, I am inclined to feel that I am a failure. All in all, I am inclined to feel that I am a failure. Once again, that continuum, strongly agree, agree, disagree, strongly disagree. And number 10, I take a positive attitude toward myself. I take a positive attitude toward myself. And marking that then on the continuum that fits best for you. So what you've got now is you have those 10 items, and you have an X or a check mark in whichever of the continuum answers fits best for each of those items. And now we're going to score it. For scoring it, what I'd like you to do is just go to each item, and I will tell you, like for item number 1, I will tell you what number to put in for the answer that you gave. Then we'll add up the numbers at the end, and that will give us our score. So for number 1, if you had marked strongly agree, put a number 3. If you marked agree, a number 2. If you marked disagree, give yourself a 1. And if you marked strongly disagree, a 0. Then for number 2. For number 2, if you had strongly disagree, give it a 0. Agree, a 1. Disagree, a 2. Strongly disagree, a 3. Number 3. If you had strongly disagree, give it a 3. If you had marked agree, give it a 2. If you marked disagree, give it a 1. And strongly disagree, a 0. So that is how you're doing the marking now. And number 4. For number 4, if you had strongly agree, give it a 3. Agree, give it a 2. Disagree, give it a 1. And strongly disagree, give it a 0. Very good. And now number 5. Number 5, for strongly agree gets a 0. Agree gets a 1. Disagree gets a 2. Strongly disagree gets a 3. And now for number 6. For number 6, strongly disagree gets a 0. Agree gets a 1. Disagree gets a 2. Strongly disagree gets a 3. And number 7. Strongly agree gets a 3. If you marked agree, it gets a 2. If you marked disagree, it gets a 1. And strongly disagree gets a 0. And now for number 8. Strongly agree gets a 0. Agree gets a 1. Disagree gets a 2. Strongly disagree gets a 3. And number 9. Strongly disagree, if that's what you marked, gets a 0. If you marked agree, give it a 1. If you marked disagree, give it a 2. If you marked strongly disagree, give it a 3. And for number 10, if you marked strongly agree, it gets a 3. If you marked agree, give it a 2. If you marked disagree, give it a 1. And strongly disagree, a 0. Now, I want you to go ahead and add up all of the numbers for each of those 10 items. And this is going to give your total score. So go ahead and add those up. And now for your total score, if you scored between 24 and 30, that indicates that you have a high level of self-esteem. If you score between 15 and 24, it's a normal level of self-esteem. And if you scored below 15, it's a low level of self-esteem. Now, the idea of getting your own personal point that you are now is just to see where it is now so that you can start to boost it. And how you're going to start to boost it is the rest of the presentation today. So we're keeping the longest and largest part of the presentation for looking at what are ways that I can use to build self-esteem. If you're happy with the level of self-esteem, using these different ideas that we're going to cover next, using them to keep it strong, keep it at that level. If you'd like to boost the self-esteem, using these ideas as ways to get that boosted. So you get to make choices in your life about what works best for you and to follow those choices through in creating positive outcomes. What we're going to look at first then as far as enhancing self-esteem, this is a self-esteem enhancement approach. We're going to look first at how to embrace the inner acceptor, that part of you that is unconditionally accepting of the person you are, and how to neutralize the inner critic. The inner critic is that part that continues to have a monologue of criticism, of negativity, of things that hold you down and hold you back. This particular section, how to embrace that inner acceptor, how to let that part of you that accepts you be free to express, and how to neutralize the inner critic. And the way we're going to do that is first, I want you to notice your thoughts, and especially notice the thoughts that you have about yourself. So as you go about the day, doing whatever it is you're doing, paying attention to the thoughts you're holding in your mind. Now, there's lots of thoughts that come in. Things go on around us, we get distractions, thoughts come in, they can be distractions. But paying attention to them, because the thoughts that you hold have an effect, they have an outcome in your life. You've heard of the term self-fulfilling prophecy. That's because the thoughts, the ideas we hold in our mind, are in fact creative. They create outcomes. And therefore it's important to hold the thoughts that are about the outcomes that you want to experience. That creative part of you is going to be making them happen, so it really makes sense that the ideas you're holding in your mind are the ones you're wanting to experience more of in your life. So you've been noticing your thoughts then, and especially those thoughts that are about yourself. Now, if the thought is positive, you notice it, it's positive, I'd like you to give yourself a pat on the back and acknowledge what a great job you're doing thinking positively about you. And literally, I mean that. Reaching back, taking your hand, patting yourself on the back. There is a level of experience that is body experience. And it takes messages very, very deeply into our minds. So doing that through your body has a special effect, even more than just saying the idea in your mind. Now, if you pat yourself on the back physically and say the idea in your mind, "Oh, I'm so proud of you. Look at what you're thinking about you," it has an even better combination effect. If the thought's positive, give yourself that pat on the back, acknowledging that good job that you're doing, thinking positively, creating positive outcome for you in your life. If the thought is negative, firmly tell yourself, stop it. Why? Because you want to get the effect of that negative thought arrested here and now. You want it to be ended. And then change the thought to a positive, affirmative statement about you. Neutralizing the inner critic, embracing the inner acceptor. Notice your thoughts, especially the ones that are about yourself. If it's positive, give yourself that huge pat on the back and acknowledge the good job you're doing. If the thought's negative, tell yourself stop it and then change the thought to a positive statement, to an affirmative statement about you. This is you taking charge of your mind and directing the outcome that your thoughts create, directing that self-fulfilling prophecy in ways that work well for you, ways that support you in positive outcomes. And that then moves us into the area of self-nurturing, treating yourself as valuable and lovable. And the first suggestion there for an idea of being self-nurturing is to focus on your achievements, not on your failures. Focus on your achievements, not on your failures. For many people, they can give you a long, long list of all of the things that they think they've done that are failures. But the list of achievements might be significantly shorter. When you have healthy self-esteem, you focus on those achievements and feel good about them. You use those achievements in positive ways to boost yourself forward in your life. And when you have failures or you have limitations, you allow yourself to learn from them. You learn from them, you transform them, they become another achievement. So focusing on your achievements, reminding yourself about your achievements, letting your achievements be in your mind. And if you think about an achievement of your life, something that you set out for and accomplished, might have been really, really tough, it might not have been hard at all for you, but it was a positive achievement in your life. Notice how you feel when you think about that. Notice that lift inside that comes from thinking about that. That is you boosting your self-esteem. That's you boosting how you look at yourself, feeling a sense of value about you. That's what we're talking about here, self-nurturing. Treating yourself as lovable and valuable, enhancing your self-esteem. Now the second suggestion here, make a list of 10 personal strengths. Actually take the time to sit down and write down 10 strengths that you hold. 10 positive things about you. And then the second part of that, add to the list frequently. So you start out with 10. And when you're thinking of your strengths, maybe you ended up with 11. Okay, add it on. Maybe a 12th one came to mind. Add that on. These are allowing you the sense that gives you that lift, that helps to build self-esteem in a healthy way. And then, as we talked earlier, that self-esteem then directs you into other areas of accomplishment and building more strengths. So keeping this list and adding to it frequently. There may be strengths you don't have right now that you develop. That goes on the list too. And then the next idea, exercise regularly. Moving your body helps you to feel better. There are physiological reasons for that. When lactic acid builds up in the body, it collects in the muscles from lack of movement. Muscles start feeling sluggish, they start feeling heavy, you start not feeling so good. Exercise naturally lets the lactic acid flush out of the body. That helps your body feel better. When your body's feeling better because your mind and emotions and spirit are all connected with your body, it allows you to feel better all around. Also, when you're exercising, your body is forced to start breathing more deeply. When you're breathing more deeply, you get carbon dioxide and waste products flushed out of your body. You breathe in fresh oxygen. That allows you to feel more energized, and so you feel better from that as well. So exercising regularly is one of the ways that helps you to feel better ongoing with that connection between your mind, body, emotions, and spirit. And then the next idea, take time for things you enjoy. Take time for you. Set aside time that's specifically for you, doing things that you enjoy. This lightens your spirit. It lightens your emotions. It allows you to experience pleasure. So that area of your mind, of your brain that is your pleasure center, that gets exercised too. Take time for things you enjoy. In the hustle and bustle that we go through each day, it's easy to let ourselves get kind of pushed to the side. The truth is, you have 24 hours given you each day for you to choose how you use it. Now, maybe 8 of those hours you sleep, and that's good because that's restorative. Maybe 8 of those hours you work. That's good because that's helping you to meet your physical needs. Remember those survival needs, those physiological needs in Maslow's hierarchy? Getting those all met. But that still leaves you 8 hours, some of which you can put into areas of pleasure and enjoyment for you. So take time for things you enjoy. And then our next item, feel good about you. If you've been doing the things before this, focusing on your achievements, making a list of those personal strengths, exercising regularly, taking time for things you enjoy, if you've been doing those things, it is very possible for you to feel good about you just straight out. If you've been doing the area before now, neutralizing the inner critic, enhancing the inner acceptor, if you've been paying attention to your thoughts and making sure that what you're thinking is positive, it is very possible for you to be feeling good about you right now, this minute. But in case you're not, I added the next part, which is fake it until you make it. That comes from AA, from Alcoholics Anonymous. Fake it until you make it. In other words, act as though you feel good about yourself. And what that does is it begins subtly to create what you think you're faking. So you think you're faking that you feel good about yourself, but subtly you're starting to feel better about you. And you continue to think you're faking it, and you're feeling even better about yourself. And pretty soon you don't have to be faking it because it's genuine. You come to recognize that you really do feel good about yourself. That is very powerful. So feel good about you, and if you have to, fake it until you make it. And our next idea is to set reachable goals and sub-goals. Reachable, realistic goals and sub-goals. In other words, if you want a certain outcome in your life, help yourself be successful. Set it up so that you can accomplish those and you can feel good about your accomplishments and your achievements. Set the goals, break them down into doable sub-goals, and then begin to enact them in your life. Have them be realistic so that you can be successful. And then once you're successful, we'll go down to the next one, which is reward yourself for each achievement. Give yourself a reward. Acknowledge you for the good job, for the accomplishment, for the energy you put into it, how you worked on it, how you didn't give up until you accomplished and were successful. Give yourself a reward. Certainly, first of all, giving yourself that pat on the back. That is an excellent reward. But perhaps you give yourself additional rewards also in treating yourself kindly and lovingly. Maybe saying more positive things to yourself. That is a great reward. So reward yourself for each achievement. In conditioning theory in psychology, what you reward is strengthened. So you strengthen that focus on creating achievement and success and feeling good about you. And our next area is to plan fun, to plan relaxing activities for yourself. So plan fun and relaxing activities for you. Now that's similar to take time for things you enjoy. But when you're taking time, now this is what you're doing in that time. Plan fun and relaxing activities for yourself. Why? Because fun and relaxing activities allow you to feel good about you. Those fun and relaxing activities can be part of your reward, or they can just be, because it allows you to feel good doing them. And the next area then is do those things that exercise your special abilities and talents. Actually engage in the things that let you experience what you're good at. Experience those things that exercise you and those unique elements that make you, you. Just because you can do something well doesn't mean everyone can. Because you can do something well, that may be a special talent, a special ability that's yours alone. Valuing it, and then taking time and energy to do it. Do those things that exercise your special abilities and talents. And then the next item, spend time with people around whom you feel good about yourself, and you know those people. When you're with them, it's fun and you feel energized, and when you leave, you feel good. Spend time with people around whom you feel good about yourself. Usually they're positive people. Usually they enjoy what they do, and their enjoyment, their positiveness is contagious. You pick it up too. So actually making the point to spend time with those kinds of people. And then the next item, purposefully do those things that you know help you feel better about you. So pay attention. When you find things that help you feel better about yourself, note those things and then purposefully do them. Set out to create that outcome. I want to feel better about myself. I want to feel that lift inside me. I want to feel my esteem stronger. And I know that when I do this and this, it allows that outcome to occur. So I'm going to do this and this. That's you looking out for you. Do those things on purpose that help you feel better about yourself. So self-esteem isn't just a whim. You're actually conducting your life in ways that enhance it. You're doing that on purpose and then achieving the results, enjoying the results. Next is make time to create mealtime as a special time. Okay, lots of times in that one. But again, I say to you, we have lots of things go on around us. They distract us. They drag our energy and our time other ways. This is you focusing again on you. Letting mealtime be a time of relaxation, maybe a time of family if that's important to you, a time for whatever it is that helps you to feel good about you. And allowing the time to bring that about. That mealtime is a really special time. And our next one is use more positive affirmations about yourself. So in addition to listening to your thoughts, coming up with positive thoughts about you. I enjoy being a good person. I enjoy being a good person. So that's acknowledging you as a good person and then also affirming enjoying that experience. I deserve an abundance of good in my life. I deserve an abundance of good in my life. And then looking for the good allows you to see more, giving appreciation for that good, giving thanks for it, and then enjoying it as a part of your life. I deserve an abundance of good in my life. And I am pleased and proud to be me. I am pleased and proud to be me. Really affirming, feeling good about yourself and the person you are, and the person that you express yourself to be on a daily basis. I am pleased and proud to be me. And our next point, challenge yourself to treat yourself better each and every day. I'm going to accept this challenge. I'm going to treat myself better every day. And I'm going to pay attention to doing that. And then our next point, if you want to learn more about how to esteem yourself and self-confidence, we have on our website more information, and that is in your action guide and here on the slide, http://www.counselorsassociated.com/hypnosis4, that's the number 4, hypnosisforconfidence.htm. And now I would like you to take on page 7 of your action guide, and I'd like you to add in a couple of your own favorites. What are some of the ways that you know that help you to feel good about you? And I only gave you 3 lines, so we're not going to take a long time to let you write these down. But the ideas that you found from your own life can have a special power for you. So I want you to really take the time and fill that in for yourself. What are a few of your favorites, of self-nurturing favorites? Ways that you treat yourself as valuable and lovable. And because of doing so, you allow your self-esteem to grow stronger. What ways do you already use? Or what ways would you like to use to enhance your self-esteem? Some different ideas than I have above. How can you treat yourself as valuable and lovable? There is only one person in the whole world that's been given the sacred trust to look out for you. Only one person given the responsibility to look out for meeting your needs, and that is you. What are a few of your favorite ways to do that? To feel better about you because you're taking care of you. Okay, finishing those up then. Now what I'd like you to do, we're going to go through our homework assignment. We had a homework assignment in our last teleseminar also. And before we get to that, I have a quote here from E. E. Cummings. The hardest challenge is to be yourself in a world where everyone is trying to make you be somebody else. Maybe everybody trying to make you be somebody else. Maybe that's a little overgeneralized, but it is a hard challenge to be yourself and to really value that when other people have ideas different for you to be. So we're talking here about you esteeming and valuing yourself and letting yourself be more fully who you are. For our homework assignment then, I'd like you to choose 3 techniques listed in the self-esteem enhancement section. And just go through, put a little check mark by 3 of the ones that stood out the most for you. Go ahead, read back through them quickly. Maybe it's the 3 that you chose as your favorites. Maybe those are the 3 you'll choose. Maybe it's making that list of 10 personal strengths, or spending time with people around whom you feel good about yourself. I want you to choose 3 of them that you think sound the most fun, or the most interesting, or the most valuable for you. And now of those 3, I want you to choose 1. This one is going to be the one that you start with first. I'd like you to spend solid time bringing that technique to be a habit. And then how you follow through and make those goals actual, effective outcomes for you to enjoy. We have a question. Do you have some suggestions for maintaining good self-esteem during a job search? What about continuing the process after multiple rejections? Job searching. Lots of people are doing that right now. Job searching definitely takes a real focus on you and your goal. One of the ways of keeping good self-esteem during a job search is not to take someone saying no as a rejection. If you're feeling good about yourself, you know your own qualities, you know your own abilities, there are reasons for you to continue feeling good about you, even if externally the people that you're connecting with don't have a job available for you. Because that's what them saying no is about. They do not have a job that matches the strengths that you have. If you take that as rejection, that's going to feel like you're being slammed each and every time. I would ask you to consider, is there another way that I could think about this? Is there a way that I could see it as this wasn't a proper fit? I need to continue my resources, continue making connection, continue networking to find a good fit. Because I don't want to be out looking for a job again in a couple of months because, I took something, but it wasn't satisfying. So I'm asking you, is there another way that you can look at someone saying, this isn't a good fit for our company? And another way for you to look at continuing the search and feeling good about the efforts you're putting into it. So I'm going to ask you to do some thinking about that and really question yourself, how can I look at this so that I still feel good about myself? I'm doing a very reliable, responsible thing looking for a good job. And continuing to follow through, giving your own self a pat on the back, reinforcing, not letting your value be created by what's going on outside of you, but creating your own worth and value from within. The second question here, I've worked a lot on self-esteem, but I still say horrible things to myself. Here's an example. I still say things like, I'm a loser. What can I do? I'm going to remind you of how we talked about getting rid of the inner critic. If you're paying attention to what you're saying to yourself, letting go the thought, I'm a loser, that you immediately say, now stop it, and then change that to a positive about you. When you change it to a positive about you, that reinforces the other efforts that you've taken on in order to build your self-esteem. So let's say you're saying to yourself, I am a success. I am a success. I am a success. That's going to reinforce that direction of self-esteem and allow you more positive outcomes as you proceed. Very, very important what you say to yourself about yourself, and to recognize that you're creating from within the experiences that you have, not letting outside of you determine who you are, but actually taking from within and the messages you're giving yourself and making sure you're giving yourself positive messages. Coming to the end of our time here, and I really want to thank all of you for being here, for participating. I'm going to have you really follow through on those ideas, those homework assignment ideas, and be active in making changes for yourself. The truth is, these ideas all work. It's you using them that finds what works best for you. So I'm going to ask you to really use them, implement them in your life to create positive outcome for you. And I thank you for being here. I ask you to be kind to yourself, to treat yourself with loving care, with kindness, really valuing you and using these ideas to make a difference in your own life. This is Dr. Marlene Scheipel, and I wish you all the best between now and when our paths cross again.